getting started, you want to grab yourself some heavier weight fabric. I recommend grabbing 1 yard of twill or canvas. Also 1 yard of lining. You'll need 2 zippers, one 18-inch and one 9-inch. And you can buy them bigger because you will be trimming the ends off. You'll need a 1.5-inch buckle set and also 1.5-inch webbing, and I recommend getting 2 yards. You'll want to grab parachute cord for the zipper pulls, or you can actually buy zipper pulls, and we have a link in the description. And lastly, you need your pattern, and this pattern is available at properfitclothing.com. Super easy to use, just download it, print it, and you're ready to go. Getting started, you're going to grab your smaller zipper and your pocket panel, both the inside and the outside layers. And then you're going to want to sandwich the zipper in between with the right side facing the outer layer. Go ahead and pin that on and sew the top edge of that zipper. Fold the lining out and top stitch across the outer layer. Grab the zipper flap panel, fold it in half, and then place it on your zipper above the pocket panel and make sure it's aligned perfectly with the bottom pocket panel. Next, you want to place it on your front main panel, line it up with the bottom, and then go ahead and mark the sides with chalk. You're going to want to flip it right sides together, lining it up with those chalk marks, and you're going to sew along that inside zipper. And I recommend pinning it so that way it stays perfectly aligned as you're sewing. Fold that zipper flap down and top stitch along that top edge, and you're going to want to get as close as you can to that seam. Now do a top stitch as close as you can to that edge along the outside edge of that zipper flap. And before you do the side with the zipper, make sure you pull it on the inside of the panel so that way it doesn't get stuck out after you sew it. Grab your main panel lining and place it on the back, and what we're going to do is attach it so that way it's easier to sew on in the end, and we're just going to attach it at the bottom. So line it up at the bottom, and we're going to do a stitch right along that edge, and we're going to do the same for the top. You can go all the way around if you want, but this is just mainly keeping it in position. Grab your zipper panels and your longer zipper and place the right sides together and sandwich it in between just like we did on that front panel. And the zipper is way longer, but we're going to be trimming those ends off, so just make sure you have it in the center of your zipper, and once you have it pinned into position, go ahead and sew across. Go ahead and flip that panel out and top stitch as close as you can to that edge. Now we're going to repeat this process for the other side, and just make sure that you have the zipper panels lined up. Next, grab your side panels, both the outside and the lining. Place the right side of the outsides together and the inside lining touching the inside of the zipper, so that way it sandwiches the zipper in between both those side panels. Once you have it pinned together and lined up, go ahead and sew across that inside edge. At this point, you can go ahead and trim the remainder of that zipper, flip it outside, and do a top stitch right on that edge. Now go ahead and flip those panels in the opposite direction, lining up the right sides together, and do the same thing for the other side. But before you sew this side, make sure that you pull the zipper down past to the inside of the panels. And then just like before, go ahead and sew across, trim it, and top stitch.
You know, back when I was in the academy, we would follow every toast with a song.
Cut about 20 inches of webbing and grab your top strap panels. Place the right sides together of both those top strap panels with your webbing sandwiched in between. Pin it into position, and what we're going to do is sew along those edges. And we're going to start at the top by sewing the top and then sew the sides. Once you have that stitched, go ahead and pull the right sides out and poke out all those corners. And we're going to do a top stitch around that outside edge. Grab your back main panel and mark the centers on both top and bottom. And what we're going to do is line up that top strap panel with that back main panel and sew it on the outside edge. And we're going to start at the middle so that way it's perfectly centered, and then work towards the outside. And now we're going to do the same exact thing for the bottom strap panel. Line it up in the center, pin it on, stitch the edges, and then do a top stitch. And then on the left side of that main panel, you're going to want to go ahead and go up about an inch from the bottom and sew that on right on the edge. And we're attaching these like this so that way it's easier to sew on when we attach the side panel and everything stays aligned. And just like the front panel, we're going to do the same for the back, so go ahead and attach that lining on, and you don't have to go all the way around, just make sure you get the bottom and some part of the top. And sew as close as you can to the outside edge. Grab your front panel and your side panel, mark the centers on top and bottom, and also the centers in the middle of your zipper and the bottom of that side panel. And we're going to go ahead and align those markings and pin it together. And I recommend using at least 4 pins so that way you have the sides perfectly lined up and the top and bottom lined up. And then from there, go ahead and sew along that edge all the way around. And this can be a little bit tricky. Just take your time, go slow with it, work with the fabric, and go all the way around that outside edge.
That's an interesting twist.
And once you have that edge totally sewn, I recommend popping it out to make sure that everything is sewn together. Sometimes you might miss a part, so you can go back, but definitely check it before you start sewing the next portion. And now we're going to do the exact same thing with the back panel. Go ahead and put the straps and everything on the inside, make your markings, line them up, and pin it together. And just like the front panel, sew along that entire edge and take your time, work with the fabric, and don't be afraid to de-thread it and start over, because sometimes it can get a little bit tricky the first few times, but after you do this a couple times, it's pretty easy and you should be able to whip right through it. At this point, you can go ahead and trim the remainder of those zippers. And now I'm going to show you a few techniques to clean those inside edges up. So we're going to be using a double fold bias tape binder to clean up those edges, and you can definitely get these for domestic sewing machines too. We're going to have links in the description. So go ahead and cut out long pieces of bias tape that are the right measurements to the width of your binder. The other option is to use a bias tape making kit, and this is where you pretty much just make your own bias tape. And it comes with a presser foot that helps you attach the bias tape to your garment. And it's pretty simple to use. All you have to do is cut a strip, feed it through, and iron it. And after that, it works the same as the bias tape. You just fold it over and sew it on, or you use that attachment. So this is just showing you how it's going to be done. It's just going to fold that fabric and sew it on. These are really good to use. I have a link in the description for these. And obviously we didn't go all the way around, but you can get the picture. We're just going to save time for the video, but you just do both of those edges and you're good to go. And once you have those edges complete, go ahead and flip the right side out. And now we're going to be adding the buckle, so go ahead and feed the top portion of that strap through the top end of that buckle, fold it down, and sew across. And for the bottom strap, you're going to want to grab your adjuster, feed it through first before you feed it through the buckle. Once you go through your buckle, you go top to bottom, and then back through your adjuster on the top. And once you have it through that adjuster, go ahead and fold that end over twice and sew across. This will help prevent it from slipping back out. And the final step is adding zipper pulls, and you can use parachute cord or actual zipper pulls. We have links in the description for both. Zipper pulls are really easy to use and they look super quality and they're easy to install. And once those are installed on both zippers, your bag is complete. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think, and we're gonna keep the videos coming at you, so we'll see you next time.